What's up, everyone? Time for a review of the fourth studio album by UK pop rock band Glass Animals. This album is called I Love You So Fucking Much. Glass Animals have been in my life for the past 6 years now, as I'd like to personally thank one of my closest friends for sending me their song Other Side of Paradise. I fell in love with that song and the band's aesthetic for this trippy but catchy indie pop. I checked out their two albums, How to Be a Human Being and Zaba, and fell in love deeper with the band's music. Initially, I enjoyed the 2020 follow-up Dreamland, but the more the album has aged over the years, the worse it's gotten to my ears. I love the lead single Your Love Deja Vu and other tracks like, of course, Heat Waves, the massive single. It's also incredibly loud, and Helium. I do vibe with those ones and some others, but the overexposure the album got really bugged me. Hey, who else had the Heat Waves expansion pack on their top streamed albums on Spotify? You know, the EP with 6 shitty remixes of Heat Waves, including the auditory tour torture of Diplo's version. All that being said, I was scared that the band would abandon their artistry and fully sell out. And after not loving the singles, although I do like Tear in Space, Airlock over the dull Creatures in Heaven, I really didn't have high expectations for this album. With all that being said, though, what did we get on I Love You So Fucking Much? Dave Bailey, the lead singer, emphasized that this album would be all songs about love, mostly. Especially the ending of a relationship, all set in the backdrop of an astronaut lost in space. I really love the way these concepts are brought to life in these songs, and holy shit, we need to give Drew McFarlane his props. Today is the day. He's been so underappreciated for his guitar work on albums past, and he shreds it on tracks like Show Pony and How I Learned to Love the Bomb. All the parts of these songs work in harmony. I definitely say, though, a lot of the themes might be repetitive and hard to separate from each other while going through the tracks here. The other great thing about this album is the pacing. These songs just fly by, even though some of them are at, close to, or over 4 minutes long. You don't even notice that the tracks are flying by. There is one exception to that, which I'll mention later, but overall, definitely a well-paced album. I'll start with the first 2 tracks, being Show Pony and What the Hell is Happening. The former is probably my favorite song on this record, and it's one they teased a lot leading up to the release of this album. It has some really great guitar work, as I previously mentioned, by Drew. I love how the rhythm section throttles on the chorus as Joe Seward's drumming drives the track. The lyrics about the ending of a relationship and the vengeance we feel when our ex-partner is unhappy is just deep and thought-provoking. What the Hell is Happening is a nice fast-paced pop rocker, as the lyrics convey a sense of being stuck in a toxic and crumbling relationship, as the same as being lost, confused, and almost kidnapped, taken from yourself to a place that you don't know, that you haven't been to. 2 tracks in, and the sound of this record is tight, as are the lyrics. Very, very good writing on that front, much improved from Dreamland. Creatures in Heaven is up next, as it was the lead single for this project, and it just does nothing for me. I tried to force myself to like this song. I listened to it like 20 times when it first came out. It's very basic and sweet with some dreamy guitars and lush synths, but this song is so predictable. It's like you're watching some shitty horror movie, and you know how it ends, so why even keep watching? That's how I feel about this song. We get some really great tracks in the next leg, as Wonderful Nothing might be the band's best hip-hop leaning cut they've released. They've dabbled in it on records past, but on this cut, It doesn't feel forced. It feels genuine and real. The grimy, fuzzy synths with the trap beat, after a quite airy and symphonic light opening, work in harmony as venomous lyrics about being taken advantage of and scorned under the guise of some sort of like Fight Club reference is actually a pretty cool the way they're able to fit all that in. I really like the symbolism there. I like that Dave is starting to write about love and sex in a more mature way, as he did on the band's debut Zaba. If you've heard it, it's not cringe, as again it was on Dreamland right here. I like also that this record isn't muddled by pointless interludes, even on albums I love, like How to Be a Human Being with the abysmal pre-made sandwiches in the middle. This album is just 10 mostly tight songs that work in harmony with each other. Tear in Space, Airlock is a song I was indifferent on when it dropped as a single, but over time it's grown on me as it's just way too catchy and fun to listen to deny. We have possibly the most emotional song on this record for me, I Can't Make You Fall in Love Again. These eerie and haunting synth stabs open up with these rolling bass kicks and 808s. The lyrics really hit home for me as Dave sings about rejection and the feeling of emptiness and self-doubt you experience. And that's an experience I've had way too many times. And this song builds and builds and pays off in the best way. I love these more haunting cuts that Glass Animals has made. These songs like Pools, and It's Also Incredibly Loud, being in my top 10 favorites of theirs. And this track here is giving some of those a run for their money. How I Learned to Love the Bomb is another emotional roller coaster, as the lyrics hint at being trapped in an abusive relationship and not knowing when someone is going to explode, lose their cool, but then act all nice after that. You don't know what it brings. It's such an uneasy situation of not knowing or having control. It makes sense that the title of this song has a Stanley Kubrick reference. Obviously, Dr. Strangelove, How I Learned to Love the Bomb, to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb. Sorry, I'm off on my Kubrick references here. As a lot of Kubrick's movies have emotionally vulnerable characters, and this song definitely conveys that. As I previously mentioned, I like how the organic instrumentation is brought forward here on some of these cuts. Ed, Drew, and Joe all give it their best as Dave's voice soars over these instrumentals. Drew does do some of the pretty wacky guitar tones on songs like Hot Sugar he's done in the past from Dreamland, but also lays some down to remind me of Poplar Street and Toes from their first two albums as well. Unfortunately, after a great run of songs, we get to one that just makes me scratch my head because White Roses is just so try-hard. It wants to be the heat waves of this album, the trap pop crossover that will conquer the summer, but it leans into it so hard. I feel like on this song, the band are just going all Jehovah's Witness, going door to door, trying to sell you this damn song. Well, it ain't working. I ain't buying it. I understand the lyrics touch on personal loss, like a loved one passing away, and I truly am sorry to Dave for the people he's lost in his life. Obviously, their drummer Joe had a really bad car accident. He was on his bike. He was hit by a car in 2018, and they're still recovering from that. But the thing that grinds my gears is this song borrows elements from other and better songs on this album and lazily slaps them together. To move off of that one, the next track, On the Run, is one I'm conflicted on. There's a lot to like here on this track. The dreamy guitars and beat with those cool vocal samples. Then on the chorus, it does get a little bit faster, and I do like how the beat picks up. But the chorus just gets a little tiresome after a while. But I do think it is a fun kind of concert anthem kind of song, but it's done right. Maybe a minute too long on the runtime, though. Lost in the Ocean ties this album together with a nice ballad and lyrics about obviously being lost, as the title implies, but also finding hope in bad situations. The drums might be a little bit too high in the mix as they kind of peak and take over the vocals a bit too much, but it's a minor complaint. Glass Animals succeeded and exceeded my expectations. This album puts the band back on course for creating mind-bending pop music. I'm so happy this album turned out great and that a band I truly love is making thought-provoking art once again in full album form, not just on some songs on a longer album. I'm giving I Love You So Fucking Much by Glass Animals a 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5. Let me know what you guys think of this album below, and I'll see you all very soon. Thank you. Bye.